Alright, hello everyone and welcome to WWE Discussion. I'm your host and WWE enthusiast Dougie Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing NXT October 17, 2023 edition. So WWE put together a big card for NXT on October 10th, delivering and as a result they got their biggest TV rating for NXT since 2019. Now this show did not have Cody Rhodes, John Cena, Undertaker, or Asuka, but it did have the same great NXT talent. Following his huge main event victory last week, Kyle Hayes would battle Dijak and Baron Corbin to determine the #1 contender for the NXT Championship at Halloween Havoc. The card would also include a match booked by Cody Rhodes, the Bada Bing Bada Boom Battle Royal, where the top teams in NXT would compete for a shot at the tag titles. Lyra Valkyrie would face an important test before competing against Becky Lynch, challenging Tegan Knox one-on-one. Well, this show was certain to be less exciting than last week. NXT still had big moments planned with Halloween Havoc just 1 week away. Unfortunately though, this show did not deliver on excitement. And with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the action, starting with the Bada Bing Bada Boom Battle Royal. JSU wins the Battle Royal, then goes into a tag team match against Angel and Humberto, wins that match, and now they will have an NXT tag title match at Halloween Havoc. So JSU finds a way to sneak into victories like these, despite rarely being involved with the tag team division. Chase and Duke Hudson remain two of the most over men in NXT, so it works. So them challenge for the titles works. The family versus JSU should be a fun match. You have two charismatic teams that know how to pop a crowd and should be able to sell the performance center audience on every near fall. The Battle Royal built up some new rivalries like Brawling Brutes versus OTM, while continuing key stories in the tag team division like the Creed Brothers versus Angel and Humberto. So Battle Royals oftentimes end up missing because there's just too many moving parts, but this one was a success. Nobody don't like Battle Royals, but I like this one. Lyra Valkyrie versus Tegan Knox, and it's so nice to see Knox getting some serious TV time here and being able to work serious matches as a result. She showed some chemistry with Valkyrie that probably should be explored further by NXT. It did get a little sloppy down the stretch, and the interference certainly did not help. However, this was an exciting showcase of two great rising stars, following up with a memorable Lynch promo made for an even better segment. Valkyrie has a major test next week with Lynch. She's unlikely to win, but a strong showing could put her in the same conversation as Tiffany Stratton for a possible main roster call-up. She needs to iron out the rough edges of her offense, but facing some of the best things he has to offer, like Lynch, should help her with that. Valkyrie has the potential to be a top woman in the division, whether it's NXT, Raw, SmackDown. She has that potential to be a top star, and she's on a good trajectory, competing against Becky Lynch next week for the NXT Women's title. Yeah, good trajectory. #1 contenders match for the NXT Championship, Hayes versus Corbin versus Dijak, and this was so much better than anything else on the show. Every man worked this match like it was the most important one of their career. In particular, Corbin worked with energy, rarely seen out of him. This match was absolute energy throughout. It seems that WWE has one more match planned between Hayes and Dragunov, and if the teases dinner show are something to go off of, it seems like Melo will be playing the villain in this story. Both Corbin and Dijak would have been fresher going into the Mad Dragon, but even though they came up short here, that doesn't mean that you still can't have a running back with Dragunov and Dijak, or have Dragunov take on Corbin. I think that's a new matchup. I don't know if those guys have crossed paths. I can't think of if they have, then I forgot about it, but ultimately you can just save those matches down the line. Yeah, they save it for a different day. So in conclusion, after NXT put on its biggest show in its history, the brand decided just to take a week off, it seemed like, for the most part. The action was generally forgettable, including multiple matches that were certainly... It was a decision to put them on TV. Granted, I will excuse the women's breakout tournament matches. They're not good, but they're not going to be good because these are some of the most green women in WWE. Luckily, the main event was great. Carmelo Hayes worked so well with both Baron Corbin and Dijak, showcasing why all three should be main event staples for NXT until eventual call-ups. Lighter Valkyria vs. Tegan Knox, also a good match, and then that was followed up with a great promo from Becky Lynch. That contest might be the most exciting bout for next week's Halloween Havoc. The problem NXT right now is a lack of storytelling depth. Most of the key angles and stories in NXT were finished around after No Mercy, probably around or at No Mercy, and what this show should have done was try to jumpstart more angles of Halloween Havoc coming up next week, coming up next week, and then continuing the week after that. But it did not do that. So Halloween Havoc has matches like Roxanne Perez and Kent versus Count James, and Blair Davenport versus G. Dolan, and those matches just got a stipulation slapped on them via the wheel, and the NXT called it good there. The Family versus Chase U, fun little, I talked about it being a fun match, but it really is kind of like a diversion from the fact that the champions still don't have a serious rival for the titles. With more attention on NXT than ever before, Halloween Havoc will hope to rebound from this week's show that looked too much like NXT 2.0, and that is not a compliment. And with that will conclude this episode of WWE Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.